Uh, what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing? Go back to work, guys. Why are you guys over here watching the stream? Oh, Deemer. I see 8 of you waiting. What are you doing, Stat Bros? Anyways, I'm hijacking today's stream to do website design instead. I'm going to update my stream title. Okay, so here's what it is. Here's how it is, right? Currently, I'm overextended. We have too many open, what I call lines, but basically too many things are incomplete at this point in time. And because I have to hold the context for each one of them in my head, it's getting very tiresome. My limit is around 2 weeks, and we're past that. So it's starting to, the mental load is starting to get a little bit heavy. So if that's the case, we are going to repivot a little bit to get some of the stuff out of the way. So I just want to make it, how do I say this? All right, let's see here. So I can't write. So we're overextended, which means that we are is getting tired / burnout. Maybe I should make it a little bit more readable. So we need to finish things, finish tasks, or end them. And previously, this example of this is like e.g. Live2D. Like Live2D was terminated because it was getting too tiresome. And the reason why we can end it is because it's not critical to our objectives here, which again is to create our own world. It's not like strictly that critical. It is pretty helpful. However, the current things that we do have are the website and the analysis engine. Now, the difference being that this is a lot more of a tangent thing than these two are in relation to our goals here, which is to draw better. A Live2D doesn't necessarily make me a better artist, right? It's a different direction entirely. Whereas right here, the analysis engine is a tool that ideally is able to help us do better analysis. And therefore, it's more relevant to our goals here. So for example, we have our goals here of create world. Oops. And in order to do this, we need to be a better artist. And we also need to consolidate information. We need to consolidate info. And this is our website. And then over here, it's just better analysis, right? So essentially, this here is our thing here. I don't know what shapes I should use for this. And then this is our website. So they all feed into the same goal at the end. Live2D could be construed as here. But it's not strictly a better artist thing, and more of just a maybe a more adjacent kind of thing. And this is still sort of in the works for the future, but in the meantime, it's not quite that important. Honestly, this part is the most important here. So whatever that helps us do this is better. But even then, this is an optional feature for this. But the most important thing right now, I feel like, is sort of having a place to consolidate information, because everything is everywhere. As we build this thing out, we do kind of need to put stuff at some consistent place. And then as for the creating world part, this is very vague, right? And so far, we've kind of come up with this idea of like a more sort of multimedia sort of idea, and websites kind of feed into this because it's required in order for us to display some of the stuff that we want to display. And this here, perhaps, is more accurate to be saying that it's pointing towards this. But either way, I think currently this is the most important thing. In any case, we have the two open lines here. We need to close them. Now that I plan it out, it looks kind of stupid. But then, either way, I'm going to try and focus on this guy here. So this guy just needs a design. And then this one needs sort of the math. And this is a lot harder to do. So this design here, I primarily need a couple of things. We need, number one, the landing page. Number two, the menu. The different menus slash or rather sub menus, I'm not sure. And then number three, the detailed displays. Actually, let me start up the site real quick. Where is my command prompt? Let me see. Stream, Pixif, no. Over here, git repo, thank you very much. CMD, thank you very much. Okay, npm run. Oh, whoops. I'm in the wrong folder again. Dang it. So v1 works. Yeah. Okay, now the website is booting up. Oops. What is it doing, bro? So this is the landing page here. Well, actually, let me just maximize this because it'd be better if we stay consistent here. So landing page here, I need to figure out what the design specifically is, right? It's too empty at this point. And then as we come into pages like these, I want to have maybe a character here or figure out what the UI will look like. This will probably not change, right? We have a very sort of picture-centric website because it's meant to show off the art. But the other ones, experiments is interesting because experiments, you want to show off a little bit of image, but also a little bit of the description about what it is about. So you kind of have a sense of what it's going to be before you click on it, because once you click on it, it's going to send you somewhere else, right? So it's better to know what's happening first. Whereas this one is just all going to be images anyways. You already know it's going to be images, so there's no need for you to be, okay, this is not meant to be here. But and then the block is just going to be text, right? It's going to be just text information here. And it just loads a markdown. So primarily the design are for this and as well as this, right? And also figure out what the sort of minimal amount of animation that we're going to do is. It's very bare bones, it's very simple. We're not going to do anything too crazy. I just need to sort of tie down the design language here. So coming back to this. This is the board again, right? So I'm going to sort of put down the kind of noise and sort of the things that we're going to want to use and put in. And then we're going to try and come up with some ideas for now. It doesn't have to be very good, but the main idea is it's pretty much going to be just be Arknights vibes, right? It's going to be stuff like this, as I mentioned yesterday, but we'll lower the contrast, right? So that the darker is dark and the brightest brights are not going to be like this extreme, because that's not what we want people to see per se. We also want to lower the contrast a little bit to set up the mood before we go into more colorful stuff, so those colorful things have a little bit more impact. But the idea is that we can have like Ria, we can have like my own custom, my own characters essentially be showcased here. Right. And then when we go into the more detailed menu, like let's say we click this part as we, so from this page here, we can have like maybe Ria here, maybe like Faye over here. And then as I mouse around, you can see the parallax. And then as we click, it fades to black. It will fade out the background. You will swap out some other background here instead. I currently don't really have a good idea of what I want. But that's the whole point. I guess we're just gonna put some ideas out there. And then we'll see what happens. So that is that. I'm gonna try and get some stuff out the door. Get out of here. Let me set up my ruler here. And I need my grid. Targeting normal 16:9 ratios. Hello, George. What if the black border makes sense this time? Because we are doing something pretty dark. I guess we can swap it out later. Okay. Alright, let's identify the sort of controls first. So I do want to just follow Arknight's design, because coming out with too many new original things is gonna be a little bit too heavy right now at this point in time, given how long we've already taken to get to this point. So, in order to stay on track here, I would say we just copy some ideas here in terms of how things are laid out in terms of certain textures and stuff. So let's just start off with textures, right? So number one, we have our noise. And this is just your default noise here. We have these contour lines. Contour. We have like the diagonal lines. And these are just rakes, basically. Just like the rake brushes that we usually use. Do I usually use rake brushes? I'm not really sure. That's most of the sort of texture-y stuff. There are grids and lines as well, so let's see. Let me see, let me see, let me see, let me see. Yeah, like these bars and stuff. Say detailing. Grids are like different types of grids. We have like the plus signs, we have these dashes. Right, it doesn't have to be symmetrical, it doesn't have to fill up all the spaces. Anything that sort of just adds some noise. The design. So there are a few keywords I think to keep track. So mostly it would be low contrast plus gray plus metallic. Oh wait, actually I just have them on different lines or something. Actually I don't need numbers for this. Going for borderless. The way I write is so weird now. Okay. Mm-hmm. Right, right. This is an interesting thing that I like about ArcNet's design is that it's very rigid, but it breaks up a lot of shapes as well. So despite being basically as on a grid, right? Everything is very sort of industrial, very sci-fi kind of vibe. It tends to be a little bit more angular, like the corners are kind of sharp. It's all boxes rather than rounded UI elements. There are some round stuff, but we don't get the sort of rounded corners vibe that you see a lot with sort of more modern designs, I think. It's pretty much just boxes everywhere. But at the same time, the boxes are interesting enough too. So I want to incorporate something like this, right? So if you look at the administrator, this text itself goes across two regions. You have the region on the left, which is more of a sort of information menu kind of vibe, right? It says Enfill, it says introduction. Um, and then on the right side, you have the actual content of the image and stuff. But this thing crosses it. So it breaks up this monotony of having two columns that we currently have. So it needs to be grid-like, squarish, but a little bit more broken up. I'm just gonna write it here. Come on. That would be the goal. And then we need to establish some more sort of consistency between the pages, but we'll deal with that down the line. Currently, we just need like sort of a idea for like the landing page first, and then we can figure out what to do from there. There will be no 3D this time around at this point in time. All we want to do is generate a image that looks like this, something, with my own characters, and then have parallax be set up in a way that makes sense. Um, and that would be where we start off. I'm just copying UI element here. One thing is to just be aware, having like sort of a list of stuff that we can use, but also just to get it in my head. Because it's not as the same, right? Knowing that it's on the reference versus having it temporarily loaded into your brain just because you've done it once before. It's more interesting this way. It actually stays in your head like this for a bit. Just nice. This line that breaks up stuff. So the whole idea of breaking up objects, breaking out the grid, I think this is the one, and then this is another one, this line that exists. Things that sort of across the borders. That's another one that I saw from another reference, I think. We can have stuff that are like this, that breaks up the sort of main section here. But of course, like this, what goes in there and whatnot, you have to decide. If it's a UI element that stays consistent with the website's design, it would stay gray, it would stay a little bit more dull, but it'll be consistent. Or it can be related to the actual image that is being displayed, in which case every time it will be different. And that would give off a different vibe as well. Because the area that's being used on the screen, yeah, this one here, will be different. What else do we got here? We have a lot of, this is interesting too, actually. They're using like this diagonal thing to sort of showcase this top menu bar. I think it's a little bit distracting because it's not very quiet. Like what they have here is very minimal. Like the amount of space it takes up is very minimal. And at a distance, you can't really see the diagonal lines that well. But we don't have any menus like that, so it's likely going to be pretty distracting if we use any at all. The yellow markers here are pretty nice. It's a visual indicator of each individual section here. Okay, I think I should not use a frame at this point in time because it's going to be a little bit too cumbersome. We're just going to operate purely on sort of vibes for now. And then we can deal with that later on. Alright, is that all that I can extract at this point? I think, oh yeah, there's also the text. The text that go along the side. What would I classify that as? I'm not sure. I guess it is kind of a type of texture here. So you have text that kind of run like vertically down, but they have a lot of spaces in between, and the text, the letters themselves are relatively small relative to everything. Like kind of like the Arknights at the top here as well. It's very small letters, very spaced out. They behave more like sort of tiny dots rather than actual text. But at the same time, they are text, so they do carry meaning that way. And that can be interesting, I think. Crosses. Text is everywhere, but this is very specific to this thing, I would imagine. I have to constantly remind myself this is not like we have to be super duper good here. There's gonna be iterations, I imagine. But I need the first iteration out the door so I can consider it as done and take it off my list. And I think that's most of the stuff that I do see. The use of space is nice over here as well. This bracket is deliberately left like that far away from the actual text. Yeah, space is probably more important than anything else, but I won't be able to use this ideas. I don't really understand what's happening. No control in the back. Everything else is not really that related anymore. We can always look for more reference, but I'm gonna not do that because then we'll just be looking for references forever. Okay. Okay, let's see. So the landing page objective, but the stupid G's are way too big. Primarily is to set mood, I think. So because of the downness and the grayness and the lower contrast, it's meant to be a little bit quieter. It's meant to be like a palette cleanser. We don't want to overwhelm people with too much color and detail, so everything needs to be muted. But as long as this idea is sort of established and achieved, we can pretty much do anything we want. We can showcase characters, we can just showcase design, but design is a lot harder to pull off. And in fact, well, design and characters don't necessarily sort of conflict. We can have an image of characters behind the scene, and then we can have the UI deliver the design, right? So really, they don't conflict at all. Anything else for the landing? I think that's pretty much it, I think. So, with that in mind, let's see. So what can we do here, right? I wonder what's easier here. How do I... It's probably easier for me to just paint stuff, I think. Yeah, like the brush already carries the noise, which is kind of interesting, I think. So suppose we come into the page. It's going to be pretty dark, right? It's going to be pretty dark. So we start off on this size here. And we need to have text here. Shit. This beginning part is going to be super hard. Once you have like the first idea, it's a bit easier to iterate on it. Actually, you know what? Let's not do this because it forces me to start worrying about values at this point. Let's not worry about values just yet. Let's just worry about what goes on in the layout here. So I know that I kind of want my main menu button here, right? This is where your start menu is. Your start button is somewhere over here. And I don't think this 16:9. Okay, you know what? Maybe I should at least use a 16:9 grid for this. Because this is not difficult to do. This is it. So we have this. gonna have some text over here. Oh, okay, this is giving me, let me see. Right, I'm trying to break down what I'm seeing here in the Enfield thing. There are a lot of textures that's going on, but I think the interesting thing is that they all kind of overlap with each other. The contour kind of overlaps with the dot grid here. The noise is everywhere. The diagonal lines overlaps only the very back, but it goes over some of the text and this logo, but only the logo here. And there are these more subtle gradients here. So with all these things, so where is the detail visible here? Yeah, well, this is a bit of a tangent away from illustration, but it's related to my own goals, so it's technically part of the streams, I would say. Also, hello Ishigami-kun 4081. Colors are visible, details are visible in the light. I think it's interesting to note that in this specific loading screen that Enfield has, the details are only visible in the light. Like, you don't see diagonal lines, you don't see contour lines in the darker parts. You only see in the light. And I think... I wonder how it would look like if it were to be different, right? If you could have seen some white lines against those darker stuff. Maybe this way it helps to sort of keep the quietness of it. The barcode, wait. Do we have anything else that sort of not quite. This is less of yeah, like today is just exploration about different stuff. I wouldn't take what I'm saying with any seriousness. I have zero experience in this. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm just saying everything and anything that comes to mind. Just to sort of be clear about what is it that I'm doing. The one idea that I had in mind was that we can have like characters on like a more 3-point perspective kind of vibe, like kind of like that One Piece that we did. Oh, actually, I had an idea when I was not on stream to... Where is my stuff? Shit, where did I put my stuff? Did I ever extracted one? I don't think I did, huh? Shit, we gotta go hunting. Oh, wait, I don't have to go hunting. I have it in the other one. The other board here. Let's say just take this. I'm going to desaturate it completely. I might need to do more adjustments later, but... How big is this section? Thereabouts, I'll say. This is the hard part, because it's the value problem. Can't have the design be cut off like that, so we're gonna have to already get rid of this. Okay, we probably need to decide on what the darkest and the brightest colors are gonna be, because once the values start coming in, we're basically just gonna lock to either end. I think maybe this one here is a good sort of target to go for. It's a bit harder to exactly get the color that we are perceiving. Because of the noise, the brightest stuff look a little bit darker. How should I say this? If I just pick the brightest pixel here, it's gonna end up a little bit brighter than what we're perceiving in this ref because of the noise, but for the most part, I think it'll probably be fine. Let me see, how was the best way to do it? This is the brightest. Oh man, we gotta lower this a lot more. How do I do this comfortably? What is this? The text? Perhaps it's best I grab this real quick. My mouse. This text should probably be some actual text now that the values are coming in. Hello, DTV. Oh, you know what? I should probably type things. Hello, Uni. So, what's music playing? Well, what's happening right now? I think it's like some Genshin music. Somehow. What's the ITC? Oh, Avant-Garde, Gothic Bode. I think. Wait, no, not Bode. Isn't that the normal one? Did I not install the other ones? Yeah, it's just Genshin. Yeah, ITCAR haven't got Bode. Okay, so I only have the bow. I thought I got the whole suite, but I guess I did not. Anyways, I'm just gonna use my usual aileron then. How do you spell it? Every time. Oh, I don't have it on this computer. Ah, god damn it. I forgot. I don't have it on this computer. Something that isn't bold would do then. Let's just do this for now. Looking for Apple Pencil. Rolling also. Oh, I see. Yeah, you found it though. At least you found it. Oops. I'm gonna rasterize this and bring it down. Don't want this to be way too complicated here. Check one. So I'm gonna push down. Yes, how goes the event, DTV? You feel like there's more people showing up this time? Or... yeah, it gets kind of dark. I wonder how I'm supposed to show this off, actually. I see, yeah. Star said he hasn't seen it. Huh. Maybe it doesn't work that well. What am I missing here? I need a better way to think about this. I need lower contrast. Let me see, I need Pinterest right now. I mean, it is how it is, right? Like, that's why, like, it depends on your mentality for doing the event. You gotta do it for yourself, man. You gotta do it if it's like you're something that you're interested in, and then you can just keep sustaining it. Because for people to take interest and commit together with you, that's gonna take some time. More like a black and white. It pushes out the thing. So at this stage, that would be flat. Mm-hmm. I see. I see. I see. Yeah. Well, yeah. I can see it. I mean, like, I mean, I guess it's just a difference in approach. I'm seeing this in multiple different ways. I don't think there's anything wrong or anything. It's just that because from my point of view, I feel like, but it makes sense, right? You wanting people to participate and see the event be more, um, see more people involved in the event rather. I think that makes sense. Um, oh, I guess it is different. I guess it is different. Sorry, I'm just thinking about it in terms of myself because if I were to do this, I would definitely. It's kind of like my streams, right? I'm not doing this because I want people to join per se. I'm doing this because I need to get it done myself. But events are slightly different inherently in the sense that like participation is kind of the point, whereas for my stuff is not necessarily the point. Um, Eventually it would be, but not at this stage of the process, anyways. So I okay. I mean, makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. It is inherently part of your of having a successful event thing, I think. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, I haven't taken honestly, I haven't quite taken that close of a look myself either at the event. Um, my understanding of the event, I don't really have a really good understanding of it. Just having like glance at the text maybe like once or twice. Um, I do recall it was more about just being creative, but I don't really necessarily understood what was expected. Uh, but that's just from a very cursory glance at it. It's not to say that what you have typed is not clear enough. Um, it didn't work out as well as I did. I thought it would. I don't want it to be that strong, right? So it'd be something more muted. But what is wrong with this then? Is the darks are not dark enough. So perhaps we do more stuff like this. Layer correction or tone curve? Right, we want more sort of contrast, but towards the darker edges. This is a little bit crispy, but and coming out super crazy without forcing on making it look amazing. I see. I see, I see, I see. It is interesting because to lower barrier to entry to anything, right? You gotta, yeah, in my opinion, right? I feel like it's easier to do something that you already know what is going to happen, right? If you do Secret Santa, you just like, oh, I'm just gonna draw a piece. If you do like sort of the dailies kind of event, like what we did for the Kimo Dameshi, right? It was just hey, draw something every day, anything would do. But then in this case, because creativity is the point of the event, it inherently means that every single event kind of has that challenge of like, hey, I don't really know what's going to happen. There is an apprehension of joining something where you're not 100% sure, like if you're going to be in control or if you're going to be able to perform. In my opinion, but that's kind of the point, right? That's kind of the point. Um, So it is interesting. Multiple challenges here. The fact that you do need people to participate for it to make sense, but also inherently it is pretty challenging, which might make it a little bit harder for people to want to uh, this is kind of hard to do without the... I don't really know what the idea is here. If you have grids and stuff, maybe I should just make a couple of textures first, so I can make use of that throughout. I should just look for it. I don't want to spend time making it. I need a... Mhm. Scoring, I think, is interesting. When I saw it, I thought it might be a little too subjective, but I don't necessarily think that's a bad idea. I just didn't really have too much of an opinion with first guard to scoring. I need to make a repo about the stupid ass textures, so I don't have to remake it every time we use it. I don't really know what the point of this is. Right. But the thing is, I don't really see the... I guess my... yeah, let me think about this, because I feel like if it is about exploring creativity, right? Is there a need to score and have a winner? Isn't the point to have multiple people sort of participate and just exchange ideas? Because, like, if I were to participate, I wouldn't necessarily care too much about scores. It would just be, hey, I come up with this idea. I wonder what other people came up with. And if there were to be a scoring, I would like for that to be someone I recognize as super duper creative in the entirety of sort of the industry of art. If there's like some artist who is like super duper creative, whatever that creative means, right? By the way, um, then having them evaluate my ideas. Like if there's someone that's established to be very duper like crazy in the field of being creative. I don't know what that means, but uh, creative itself is kind of hard to gauge as well. I'm not really sure what creative means, but But I'm not against like having scoring. I think it might be interesting. I just personally didn't quite get it right off the bat. I think it's just a interesting thing. Uh, I think it's yeah. I don't see any like it's not like a criticism on like anything at all. It's just different ways of perceiving the event, I suppose. Bloop bloop bloop. Is the video paused? No, it's not. I have no idea what I'm doing, by the way. Very good. Very great. Maybe the first thing I should do is a study, actually. Maybe I should start off with a study of the two of these guys to figure out what makes them tick. I also might have a lot. But this is kind of the same. I'm gonna go to the washroom. I'll be right back. Does the ad thing work in the chat, by the way? I think it highlights for you, right? If you're being added. If you're being mentioned, rather. Oh, cool. Interesting. Stupid ass keyboard. What is this? Can't do much at this point. I think UI's design is kind of a pain, yes, because the relative proportion of everything is kind of important. Just putting down very rough shapes kind of doesn't really convey the vibe so well, and kind of gets messed up. I'm gonna do a quick trace of this to see what it looks like. What? Oh, because my stupid ass screen is not I keep forgetting. My monitor is not 1080 for some reason. This 20-euro monitor is 1920 by 1200. It's really stupid. Okay, wait, hang on. I gotta translate words into image, right? So in an image, the light areas were heights of a mountain. Okay. And the dark areas were flat ground. You could see the dynamism of the piece by imagining the light as a mountain range. Okay, I think I maybe get what you're saying. I'm not sure if I have the exact same mental image as you do. Likely not, to be honest, in all likelihood. I cannot find this anymore after I bring this eye. I'll move it here for now. Yeah, of course. If you look at the thing on the screen, it becomes a mountain range. Is it a good one or not? Right, no, like I can see the mountains here. It's just I don't want the mountains. I think I don't really know what I want is the thing. I do know like the vibes that we want to convey is similar to this with just a lower contrast. Basically this level of contrast. But I want the characters to be in the light essentially. To be the light, perhaps. I think that's the part maybe that is really kind of getting me because I can't really imagine what that might look like. The level of detail and the sort of comp. And in the beginning, maybe it doesn't have to be like that, I think. In any case, the sort of landing page is kind of just a little bit more flexible. We can swap out the image and stuff, but the UI might remain. So I'm wondering if I can just sort of grab the UI perhaps here. And see how it might compare if I swap the image out, for example, right? If I just swap whatever that we have, whatever that they have here, out for something else, how might that look like? No, I do not. I did not see Minecraft source code getting leaked. What is this thing at the side? What is that? Oh, triangles. Come on. How would I do this though? Like, it's not like I can just grab out everything. Hmm. I know what I like and I know what I want already. So maybe we can just work towards a singular idea, even if it's not currently fixed. How dark does it get? The one that I perceive, right? So grab this perhaps. Put it in something else. I target one first. I want the line here. No, it looks fine. It doesn't matter too much at this point. But these, that's fine. Oh, I'm gonna pull white. I want a box. No box for now. Yes, DTV. I'm afraid I can't share enthusiasm with respect to Minecraft's source code getting leaked. I would like to maybe see the spaghetti code one day. It would be nice indeed, I suppose. I think the Japanese texts are more at the bottom here. Me is inherently very round, huh? I don't really want round stuff, but because Arknights kind of has all that grid going on, to hold everything in check. It's more grids rather than not. Maybe I will not use Japanese then. Actually, a placeholder. What kind of stupid ass font is this? Get out of here. I don't want to draw stuff as much as possible because hand-drawn stuff is very hard to get looking good if it's not you know, meant to be very organic. If the shape's meant to be more rigid and stuff, it's like might as well just get some placeholder. Um, it's a lot of things to sort of contend with here. Like the values of the stuff here. This is too bright, I would imagine. The brightest stuff here, yeah, it's very much more muted than this. What? Where is this stupid ass layer? It's only this, right? Oh, it did get darker. It's just very, very not noticeable. Okay. Darker gradient. It's a very minor gradient on the corners. Because there is something to draw the attention at that point. Darker sequence. So ideally, so we are only able to do it that way. If this text is here, so either there's going to be a box behind to serve as a backdrop. If not, it's not going to really work. Just like the box. Oh. What is that thing? Anything I can use here. Yes, Uni. I'm afraid like today I can't really spend too much attention. This thing is kind of very tricky here. If I get too distracted, it's going to be today is going to be a write-off completely. I'll just take a quick look here. Oh, analog into digital. I see. Mm-hmm. See. Right, the lines are the translucent lines that my brushes naturally leave because it's a marker, which I always find a little bit tricky to deal with. But I think that's because ours, sort of the rendering that I do like tends to be a little bit more clean along the edges, whereas here is a little bit rougher. So it kind of plays well with the thing. The lines don't work against that sort of cleanliness that I want to achieve. Over here is pretty good. But yeah, thank you, Uni. This part here is interesting because you go from like kind of like more base color setup into like something that's more cohesive. Um, what is this, like a normal layer? Doesn't really feel like a blending mode. I feel like they just took the gray and brushed it over with some opacity setting. Anyways, definitely warrants a closer look, I think. But yes, thank you, Uni. I'm afraid I can't spend too much time on it today. What's the best way to do it? I wonder. Let's see. Didn't have enough screen speed resolution. Yeah, would it end up being the center, I think? I wonder if you can... if the importance of that would be... Is it shifty? Oh yeah, it is. Oh yeah, kind of screwed up. The issue would be how to break this up, I think, right? What difference would this make compared to before? Is this blue? It is blue. Hmm. Oh, but it's actually transparent. Huh. Doesn't have to be, right? Right, but having more space might be interesting. More laterals into stadiums. Oh, I see. If I can separate the background, that would have been nice. Actually, in this case, target one. Where is it? Before this. I completely forgot we had this. I never finished. Come on. Is it before this? I don't think it was it? Line before this? Wow, okay. Huh. Paint 8. Paint 7. It's not here. Number 8. Paint 7. Thing. What the fuck? That's way too old. It must be hidden in one of the folders again. God damn it. Alright, since I'm not going around looking on for it forever. Can I grab this and stuff I want? Oh, it does have a gradient, I see. This would be good enough for now. Hello, Dave. Yeah, I was just telling Uni too. I can't look at dailies too much today because it is pretty distracting for the most part from what I'm currently doing. I can take a quick glance though. Thank you, Dave. Right, I forgot to mark the previous one as Uni's. That's kind of interesting. You guys flip for a little bit because like Duvet's one suggestions are usually a little bit rougher, I guess. Because the lines this time around on Duvet's is a little bit more keen. Why are there so many Rick and Mortys? But what is this design, man? This design is insane. Oh, never mind. Colors are spilling all over. Okay, I suppose, but like it's a lot more rigid and hard edged than Duvet's usual recommendations. I feel like, although I can't quite remember what the other ones look like. Immediately off the bat here. This is very unique, actually. I feel like I haven't really seen... Actually, the previous one with Uni was also pretty unique. With the camera, with the comp. This one here is like just the colors, and I guess the graphic design element of it. Let's click. What are these guys smoking? Holy shit. Yeah, I could. I mean, like, dang, this guy is churning these out like nothing. There are so many of these too. The efficiency on this is insane. Yeah, there's a lot of photo textures and stuff like that to help with the thingy, but hmm. I wonder. Anyways, yeah, let's look for a Duvet signature here. I don't think... Did you choose this because they don't have any? Pretty close. Pretty close. This is very fire. Do they have a time lapse? I don't think this counts. Something about the colors. Yeah, this is more of a color study than anything else, I feel like. It's a lot of orange and reds. But the way they put it together is... Indeed, very cool colors. Did I favorite something just now? I can't remember. Let's favorite something. What is good? My dudes. Oh, I did. Oh, okay, there you go. What do you mean it's not even close? Isn't that the... like in my opinion, in my sort of from my point of view, it looks like it's just any form of pairing. Guy, 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 girl, guy, guy, right? Any form of pairing is like... Oh, this is a Duvet signature daily. Signature Duvet daily. I don't know how this is meant to be broken up. The fact that it's a gradient kind of messes up the vibe of it, right? So it needs to be something sharper, perhaps. But even then, this is very flat because it's just this, and then background, which is whatever that was gonna be. The setup is very flat. I'm trying to discern what works and what doesn't work, so this is gonna take a while. But yes, thank you, Duvet. Very cool, very cool. Today's dailies have been very, very interesting. Right, because that one exists. That one is just flat and that exists. This one over here, I can see layers, but it feels different. Right? It feels more reminiscent of your previous ones, Duvet, where you have like sketchier lines. Although the rendering is definitely more than the other ones that you have sent. They do spend a bit more time on the rendering. The impact of the text is not very strong. very loud. Very, very loud. Technically messy, very meticulous. You mean the one that Duvet recommended, right? I think the one that Duvet recommended for me is just the edges are very hard. Like there isn't a lot of textures and everything. For yours, the rendering is technically messy, very meticulous, so you get the sense of it being clean. Oh, I don't perceive this as clean personally. Like I wouldn't perceive this style as clean in particular. It doesn't have the usual like massive textures that the painterly styles have, which is what is also very messy, but because there's a lot of these sort of overlapping shapes from the markers and stuff. Any more boxes? Boxes inherently breaks. Boxes have borders, right? Borders come in to break up the mess, which I guess is useful at this point. What is it I'm perceiving? No good way to set up. Not a parallax. I'm gonna try some stuff with other people's art, and just to be transparent here, I am sending all the links that I'll be using because I'm trying to see what works and what doesn't work. And if I use my own art, there is that slightly different issue of I don't really like mine too much. And that makes it inherently kind of hard to evaluate. Because I feel like the kind of stuff that I need is something like this, where inherently it has this very strong dynamic lighting here. But then because we can do something like this, for example, and then, not you. I can lower the sort of impact of it. Maybe not have it be this big, I'm not really sure. Because I need this dark part, I think, that then sort of fades it back. I guess we can still use this. It's not necessarily that different. Maybe it's just lacking the dynamics. But it also lacks the layering setup, right? So there is multiple things going on. But if we ignore that, so want there to be layers. So unless the piece itself sustains multiple layers like that, then we can use it directly. Right, so I kind of want this idea of having many things layering over each other. Like what this Amphib's loading screen has. And because that then allows us to sort of layer textures in between, behind, and so on and so forth. And that sort of gives it that vibe that I want. And in addition, we can use the tilting mechanism on the website to sort of show parallax that way. The problem with just using art is that they tend to be pretty flat. Unless for whatever reason, like the piece itself maybe has multiple different layers, foreground, midground, background. And then therefore we can split it up that way. Yeah, I can kind of see this vision, right? This vision kind of makes sense to me. If I then take, for example, like a darker gray. Well, how dark is this? Oh, that's pretty dark. Huh, it's darker than I remembered. Where we take out the edges a little bit, and that kind of brings things together a little bit more. Right, stuff like this. And then on top of this, or behind it, I don't know where, somewhere, the grid and stuff comes in, right? Stuff like this comes in. Where this probably needs to be... Yeah, ideally this will only be on the darker part, so I'm just going to turn it as a lighten, I think. That should take out the stuff on the bright stuff. Then I just need more of this, like for example. Oops. Wow. Getting messed up here. Oh, right. Lighten, yes, check. I'm gonna do this and lock this up. Stop doing that. Gonna lock this down, but I kind of only want it in this region, I think. And then, of course, just like the Arknights one, we have the diagonal lines as well. Where did it go? This guy? Oh, yeah, here. So we have the diagonal lines. And these are not as thin as I would like it to be. Like, Arknights one is a lot finer than this. It's not inherently a problem. That being said, can I lock it just to here? No, it's actually quite strong. Okay, let's not do that. Why do I want this? Same setup. Okay. So, actually, no, let's repeat what we just did. And then I'm just going to take out this part. I just realized this is oddly poetic that we're doing this with Suzerain. The one that works this with her. Which is Arkness character. Of course. Lock it. Yeah, like I want a website just so that we can have a place for stuff. Indeed, exactly like you said. We're designing it again, right? I want to separate this into two different parts, right? The fact that we want somewhere to consolidate items just means we need a website. We don't need to design it per se. But I want to design it because then I don't get annoyed every time I look at it. I want to know that it looks like something. It looks decent, and I give it some thought, and it is the way it is because of XYZ reasons. Even if it just means that it's a skill issue or something. Oh, this mask is gonna be annoying, so I'm gonna get rid of that for now. Yeah, this is not strictly necessary per se, I suppose. So this is one idea, I suppose. And then on the front, oh, let me just merge these guys actually. Landing. So this is the blocking, right? So the text itself, the T is actually kind of annoying because it doesn't make any sense. But we can have stuff like this. So if this works, can I swap this out for something else? What doesn't work here? I guess we don't take out... Oh, so there's a border here, right? On this side is empty. So that's probably the difference between the two. And then if I can just maybe... What if I do this instead? What? Hello? Layer? Oh, I see. Because this is too... the edges are too rounded. Sorry, the edges are too blurred. Is that good? Actually, no. It doesn't necessarily fail the check. That thing isn't on. It could work, actually. It could work. I can imagine a setup where these pictures are kind of just rotated in and out. Kind of like a carousel, but like instead of showing it in its full original color, it's all going to be muted. Again, because this is no longer a portfolio site, right? It's not important that I show things to draw people, like, this attention, per se, like, to my, whatever, to the art pieces themselves. I can do whatever. If I want to set up the mood, and I think the mood is more important, then the mood can be more important. and I can manually prep each and every one of these pieces, and I just have it rotate in and out. This is like one idea, I suppose. I do kind of still want parallax. There's not much to set it up with, because there isn't anything here. I like the Suzerain one way more. Dang, dude. Something to do with the contrast, something to do with the way that it works, the framing and everything. This is really good. This is not that great. Even with this, maybe especially with this. Where's the perception difference? Oh, I see. Contrast. I might need the actually. I might need the. I'm gonna mute both sides a little bit more. Let's hold on to just Suzerain for now. And the other things would be the junk that goes over. The random UI elements that we kind of see in some of these things, where you have these like random dots and circles and like lines and geometric shapes. Wasn't there one that has a better example? I kind of forgot. Let me take this out. It's kind of annoying. At this point here, this looks pretty good. It's got the muted vibe that I would like to set up. And I'm gonna maintain this for now. The text, I guess a placeholder that doesn't really serve its purpose is not much of a placeholder. What text would I have here though, even, actually? It could be a message, it could be like welcome, it could be my name, whatever that I choose for that to be. What else could I have it here? Yeah, right, like some kind of wow. It would have been nice, DTV. Thank you for the suggestion, of course. It would have been nice if I like my own name, but I don't really like it. But that's the biggest problem. Otherwise, I would lean very heavily into the whole me nonsense. Also, for anyone who's just joining, just to be clear, this is not my art. The art is linked in the chat. Actually, let me pin it while I'm doing this. That's not really a good source actually, because that is Pinterest, but there is the artist name in the description, in the comments rather. That I did also link it, or copy and paste it over here. Okay, maybe I'll turn it off for now, because I do need to just want to focus on the UI stuff. Alright, what can I steal from Arknights? I copy and paste from Arknights. I can't have stuff like this. It's kind of distracting, because if it stretches everywhere... Oh, that's a good idea, actually. That's a good idea. Kind of like, okay, I've been looking at this nonsense, this quarter of a circle nonsense at the back of this user screen. I don't know why it's here. There's not really like a really established motif for Arknights, I don't think. But yeah, like if we have like a big me, a set of me's in the back or something, a really big one, kind of going down the side somewhere along the darker parts of the canvas. So having this here, having it down the back, maybe on this side. Yeah, I just need I just need to confirm on the name. That's the thing. I'm not a huge fan of my name. It is interesting. It has served me very well in VR chat because it's a great conversational starter. Number one, because it's weird. Number two, because there's a play on words there. But as a creator name, I don't think it's really necessarily that great. It's kind of hard to find for non-Japanese speakers. And at the same time, even for Japanese speakers, Mi itself is also a little bit too sort of common. I see you really like your play on words there, DTV. Very cool. So I'm not acting on the me thing because I'm not a big fan of me. Me, myself, and I. Me, 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 me. Okay. So what do I want to try adding first? Let me look at my notes here, right? So in terms of texture detailing, we have noise, contour lines, diagonal lines, grids, and bars. So maybe I'll just put in some of these nonsense here. These like horizontal lines for whatever reason. And text as well could be viable across down the side, whether if it's big or small. Noise, I do kind of want to put in a layer for noise. We actually haven't done noise just yet. What would the noise be applied on though? Across everything? Let's just try across everything first. So, filter, render, Berlin noise. I need to get the scale as tiny as possible. Max this out, that's fine. So it's already starting to get that same kind of vibe. This is obviously going to be too much. I need it to be on... Well, darken is interesting, but darken takes out half the pixels because I'm right in the middle of the gray at this point. I need this to not cover her, but because of the way the layers work, it's not quite possible at this point. I have to do some weird selection nonsense if you want to do this in a clean way. But yeah, that's interesting. The effects on here is not that apparent, huh? But this is really crispy, right? But like, I can just take it off her face. That would be nice. I don't really want to use like do anything that's too manual here, ideally, because anything that's too manual is not very it's not very controlled. It's not very consistent. And this UI kind of has the industrial sort of sci-fi vibe. Like ArcNest is the industrial vibe, right? Industrial things are very precisely measured, and very clear and very clean. The edges are very specifically there. But that being said, that's just a sort of a guideline, of course. I'm not actually sure what this noise is currently providing in terms of value at this point in time. The original one is kind of just everywhere, actually. Or is it? No, it's only on the... Oh, it's only on this part, actually. It's part of the glow here. Anyways, just something to keep in mind here. Ooh, the noise layer will be interesting when things start tilting. The noise layer shouldn't move, right? Or should it move with everything? By the way, in the website, every single one of these things will be a separate layer. And they will actually just composite the same way we're compositing it here. But anyways, right, UI nonsense. What else do we do? Just put some random bars here and there and then get a feel for it. I think, like, honestly, this is a really scary part of the process because I have no idea what I'm doing and I don't know what I want. But I think some of these things, once they go onto the canvas, you kind of get a feel for if you like it or not and for what reason you like it or not. How do I do this more consistently, actually? This is not gonna line up that well. Maybe it's too thick, actually. Let's say we do this for now. Right? Get a feel for what it looks like. Eh. No opinion right now. No idea how to feel about this. Oh, actually, I'm looking at the date here. Is there any value to doing this? Everyone's gonna... Okay, so by the way, this is all done for a desktop, by the way. If you go onto the website with a mobile phone, it's gonna look like crap. We worry about responsiveness much further down the line. But yeah, I'm wondering, some useful information perhaps might be interesting. Like, for example, like I'm looking at this date, and it'd be kind of interesting to have the date there because then you kind of know when you accessed it. But like if you're on a computer, you always just have the date at the bottom right of your screen on Windows. If you're on Ubuntu or something else, you see it at the top. So there's no real value for that. However, there is value in sort of creating um, a version number, because as I'm updating the site for whatever reason on whatever part of the website, it would be interesting to see something that is representative of that. I can have the code automatically generate a hash and then feed that into the thing and generate and then just load it into the HTML dynamically, so I don't have to bother with it. A prayer rope? Lovely necklace from a relative or loved one. Would you rather the beads only be red painted wood beads or creamy painted beads? Oh. I mean, I feel like personally, I would not want very strong reds. But that might just be a... I would still lean towards... I'm trying to distill down why is it that I don't like red. Primarily because red seems to be a more of a danger color for me. Its danger is anger. Anything that's too high contrast, I feel like either draws too much attention or represents a really strong negative emotion for me. So I would prefer creamy just because to me it feels more like a gentle form of love. It feels more accepting. It feels more warm rather than hot, if you know what I'm saying. It's the intensity of it. But of course it would depend on that specific shade of red and shade of cream. Creamy brown chocolate. Now it sounds like cookies. Creamy brown or chocolatey brown? I don't know. Not too strong opinion on either one of them. Maybe because I'm also not too familiar with a prayer rope. Oh, I see. Interesting, interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I think either one works. Maybe you can link it to something that is a bit more personal to them. I'm assuming you're giving this to someone. Yeah, I think it would depend on the specific shade of color, I think. Looking at some of these images on Google, I feel like the darker ones are nice. I kind of like the darker ones. As my website sort of brainstorming and design idea might have given it away. I do kind of like dark gray. I don't like black. Like pure black. It's too contrasty, too strong. And same thing for like whites. And like grays, I only like about like 80. What's it like? What percent is this? What are we at? Oh, it's actually really dark. Never mind. Yeah, I really like the dark grays. So maybe a bit more biased towards like darker colors. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if there's any other connotations, religious connotations with certain colors. Maybe you can work that in somehow. Could be interesting. I'm gonna borrow a page out of Arknight's UID here. By the way, my UID is right here. If you guys try to add me as friends, I have like 100 friends. 1 week in, because I saw people spamming it. So I started spamming it, then I can get good deals on the trading thing. So I have like 100 friends on it, and I can't add any more people. So you have like a long list of requests coming in too. Everyone's just spamming it. I don't know a single person. I mean, I know like two people, and my friends list is actually my friends. The 98 other persons, I have no idea who they are. Doesn't mean we can't be friends though. Yeah, here's my UID, but you can't add me. Indeed, indeed. So I'll take a page out of the playbook. I'm just gonna put like maybe some kind of a thingy at the bottom. Bottom left, bottom right doesn't really matter, I suppose. Let's take it out. Who? Oh, right. Stupid ass squares. Oh, wow. It's gonna look like shit. Indeed. Kind of too far down, actually. Elements are also kind of bright. I don't like how bright they are. Alright, one thing at a time, right? So I need a placeholder for numbers. Pick this guy up. Why is it not together, bro? What? Okay. I think this is also on the other layer. Now they're on the same layers. This guy, which then I can lower my values down a little bit. That should only be two things there is very apparent, which is the art itself, which is always going to be monochromatic. It's always going to be black and white. The other thing would be the button to press, the only singular button that you're allowed to press, which is to enter the site, which brings you directly to the portfolio page for now. But in the future, I might change it to doing something else. I want a margin here so it doesn't start off all the way at the edge. Just all gonna go by eye for now. So that's gonna be cleaned and clear. These guys, maybe I can stretch them a little bit and see what happens. You can overstretch them first and then turn them smaller later. Oh no, I'm not. I don't want. I want to lean into the Arknight design, but there's not gonna be anything that sort of hint that it is Arknights. It's not like a homage to Arknights in the sense that I want Arknights elements in here. It's more of a jumping off point. If I can help to sort of detach away from it, I would. It's just that currently it's a skill issue problem. Mhm. But those suggestions are all valid, right? Because currently we are kind of leaning heavily into the Arknights vibe. Ideally, I would like to take the idea that they have, right? For example, like the positioning of like those quarter circles. Is there a better name for these things? But these quarters, and then replace it with something else, right? We take the idea, but we not take the exact same thing. The noise and the texture, that's just kind of generic stuff. But more like bigger shapes and more apparent shapes, I think those I would like to swap out if possible. Again, no idea at this point in time. I can also take from other people, but like other stuff, that's very blocky and stuff. Nothing too special. The font we're gonna use for Control's font. If you guys played the game, every time you transit into a new area, you get this giant-ass text that pops out in your face that's very bold and very loud. Because the whole design about the game is, that brutalistic architecture and very sort of oppressing kind of vibe. So having that text in your face plays very much into that. Which is very nice. I do like that. I like how sleek the design looks too. I don't think we have a spot for that, a place for that just yet. You know what would be cool, actually? All of these UI elements, they are just random shapes and noises and whatnot. If I can make them programmatically generated based on the current version of the website, that would be very cool. Because then every time you go in, if there's an update, it will be slightly different. But it will be same enough that it conveys the same vibes. That would be very cool, actually, if I can work that in. Which shouldn't be too hard. We just need to decide on the layout here. What else can I add? I can add text. Right, like random as sort of. Yeah, I've seen those boxes. There's like a box with like a cross in them from diagonal to diagonal, and then it's just placed everywhere to give it more of like a tag vibe, but doesn't serve too much of a purpose. Like appliance, like I really like this tag that goes down the side. But I don't know what I can put here. What can I put here? Oh, you know what? You know what? You know what? I'm looking at this number thing. I kind of like the scroll that this number sort of implies. What am I saying? I don't want just like a traditional scroll, if possible. But to do that, I think it takes a lot of JavaScript. I'm not 100% sure how to do it. However, what we can do is that if this image here, right? Once again, I didn't draw this. I don't know who's joining and leaving, so I'm just going to repeat this as many times as necessary. But the link is in the chat. Thank you very much. It's pinned. But if, let's say, we have multiple of these, we can have like this sort of number thing at the side that represents the carousel number. So it would be like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And every time it changes, it will have an animation that corresponds to a specific number. That would be kind of nice. It would be very slick. Because the landing page will have no scrolling. It's locked to the screen only. So there would not be a scroll bar on the side. But it will have this number instead, in place of that. And then as characters swap in and out. And of course, we have to draw all of these, by the way, just to be clear. I'm not going to put other people's art, right? So we're just trying to get a feel for the values. And then after that, I have to make it for myself. Let me get more stuff in here. Let me see how other pieces might look here. So we know that this one works pretty well. But what about other lighting situations? This one, let's see. What is characteristic of this? This one is that the character herself is the only thing that is bright. And the background is specifically very dark. So we need to go opposite. We just grab a bright background instead. Which is kind of like what the other ones... I like the other one that I have. My own stuff is kind of bright in the back, I suppose. Let's grab this one then. Let's grab the... Grab this one. Let's see. Let's see. God damn, it's huge. Let's just yoink this. Yoink. Delete. So the problem here is that the background is going to form a very natural line here. What if the character looks at a mouth occasionally? That would be way down the line. To do interactive stuff like that, you have to consider many things. I think for one, like the main reason why I wouldn't do it is just that it's going to look a little bit weird. Because if only the eyes move, it's kind of creepy. Also, to do that in a carousel fashion, so your dynamic element is being loaded onto the carousel and it's sliding around. And as things slide around, they have to be active. Oh, no, they can all be active because the other ones would be off screen, I suppose. But, anyways, it's an interesting idea, but I don't know if you've heard me say this at TV, maybe not. But like, the website is not meant to be just static like this forever. The idea is that at some point, I want to, this way down the line, right? I can commission people to make 3D models of my characters, and then we can program them to do certain actions in the WebGL. So in the website itself, they will exist as 3D models that are moving. And you can turn it into something that's interactive. So like you said, the characters can not just look at the mouse, but they can run after the mouse. They can look, they can try to grab the mouse. You know, they can walk towards the camera and walk away into the distance. They can do a lot of things. Like, websites are so powerful now. There are two issues with this. First thing is the technical challenge. Maybe there's like 3 issues. There's technical challenge. There's the fact that you need to get the models made and also motion rigged. And then the last thing would be... What's the last thing? I forgot. Anyways, I forgot. Right, this works so well because the character clearly stands out against. Stuff like this would not work because the background is going to conflict. Even if I do sort of fade out the background, it's still not going to look good because it doesn't follow the silhouette of the character. right? So this transition line between the light and the dark is specifically due to my airbrush like this, which can be fine, I suppose. This doesn't look too bad. But that impact of having that line being your character's silhouette is very powerful, I think. Ideally, we would just stick to stuff like this, rather than to stick to try stuff like this, I think. I suppose you could, wait, if you do remove the background, it would look like this, I guess. It would be like this one here. I wonder how the values would work. Because this was painted specifically with that value as being the background. So it inherently works really well because it was designed to be like that. Whereas these ones were not necessarily painted for that. So there might be a need to sort of adjust values, perhaps. We have already adjusted this multiple times, so I don't know what it looks like originally. But you're right. I mean, you could just cut out the character. Okay, this is interesting. Actually, before we move on too much, let me make a note of this. Why do I write this down? Like, let's write it here. So one, check one. Where's my notes? This. So I thought I'm not gonna have a carousel. Maybe I'm gonna have a carousel again. So neat. How do you spell silhouette? Silhouette. For the impact, everything else kind of works. I want to put in the numbers and the stuff here, just as a placeholder. So we do need quite a few of this. Unfortunately, I don't have any good fonts that I like, so they all look a little bit odd. We do need something that's a little bit more rigid and square, if possible. And a little bit slicker, a little bit thinner. Ah, stuff like this. This is good, actually. What is TW send empty regular? Whatever it is great. Silhouette. Oh, dang, dude. Oh, I'm so off. And I've been spelling it the way I just spelled it for like so long, too. Thank you very much. Wait, no. Wait a second. Are you sure? Which one is the correct? Why does it say results for this? Is this a word? Which one is the word? Oh, I didn't complain about the text just now. Confused. Silhouette. No way. People say wet. Oh, I spelled it right? Yeah, this stupid ass word, man. I hate it. Why is there a specific... Okay, I'm distracted. Anyways, thank you, DTV. So, yeah, silhouette. Hate this word. Let's get a few more, actually. Because I can work some more magic with this. If we have enough numbers here. I'm just gonna keep it black like this. For now, it doesn't really matter. I can always change it. So I'm gonna lock this to here sequence. I'm gonna drop it down. So I want it in the middle. This is a bad thing about working in Clip Studio rather than the actual design software. You can't really lock it to the middle that well, but we also don't need it at this point. I am going to just... Ooh, how big should this text be? Okay, I need to line that up with my screen here. This is not too big. Could be smaller, I suppose, but it's not too big either. I can deal with this in the actual implementation because it'll be a lot easier then, I think. Ironically, I suppose. Ooh, it might be hard to read depending on what's behind. Should it be white or... Right, because this one is not a good reference. This is the better reference, right? So we might need a darker text then. Let's just grab dark text. Yeah, okay. It's fine. So let's say this is somewhere in the middle. We're gonna do it like this, I think. And then on top of that, I can erase out just the top here. And erase out just the bottom here. So it's like but how would this work then? Does that mean that the okay, so the one that's selected will always have to be in the middle then. Then the animation is gonna just slide the numbers up and down while keeping the selected one in the middle. That would be one option. The other option would be to keep the numbers separate, static, kind of. Which one do I like more? Not sure. We can have just multiple options and wait for distillation here. Wait for it to distill out. Is this in the middle? No, it's a bit too much to the bottom, I think. This is more in the middle. Okay. So now that that is there, this is my markings. I need to turn back on my ruler, and then we can put in something here, perhaps. Let's use this. Do I want that? So this is interesting because this marks out the middle, but it isn't necessary. And because we are moving the numbers instead in this case, this being a static thing on the screen might be a little bit annoying. Because it doesn't feel necessary. It feels like a speck of dust as a result. Because if the numbers were the one being animated instead, then this guy will kind of move around. And the spaces will also kind of like form in front and behind this, right? This will collapse and this will open up over here. Then the bar will move down. Right, but because I'm doing this fade out here, it will imply that this here is the sort of the wheel that's sort of rotating up and down. Interesting. I don't know if this actually reads that well. It feels a little weird because it seems to join 4, 5, and 6 together rather than really truly isolate 5. But this will just be here 10 for now as I work out other things. I don't like it right now, but it's fine too, I suppose. The line at the bottom is kind of annoying. It breaks up the shape for no real reason here. Right, at least the line at the top here serves a purpose. This doesn't necessarily serve a purpose. Oh, it's backwards. Whoops. Can I remove like half of this? Not sure yet, so I'm gonna leave it. Sorry, what did I just do? Oh, I made a bunch of layers for no reason. It's kind of hard to read still. Yeah, it's just really hard to do consistently with that. So, oh, actually a bar might not be too bad. Okay, I don't like it because it blocks the art in this case. Also because of the fading. If the numbers were the one that moved instead, then we can have the bar be behind the entire numbers, and then the numbers themselves move around to shift and make space. That might look better, actually. UI elements fading out. Actually, fading out isn't really an established motif on my side, I don't think. This fading out nonsense is a bit different. Because Arknights doesn't really fade anything out, do they? Like, not for text. Everything is bold and in your face. The only thing that fades out are textures. Same for all the other sides too, actually. Oh. Oh, I just realized that. I'm looking at this, specifically right here. You can see how, like, the selected icon here is darker than the other ones. I mean, we could also work that in here, but I don't just want it to be darker. I want it to be bolder too. So the font here needs to have two separate distinct. Well, most of them have a lot of different types, like semi-bold, bold, black, that kind of stuff, and light and thin, right? So we have the thinner font here, and a bolder and darker font here, along with the spacing, along with other things that sort of emphasize on it being selected. Shit. Now that we have so many ideas, I kind of have to execute on some of them because otherwise I'm gonna forget. So now it's getting kind of annoying because I got to get it on canvas. Sorry, George, what was that? What about the bar on top where it's diagonally scratching? Sorry, bar on top for. What are we talking about again? Adding what? Oh, you mean like this bar here? This bar? Right. I don't really want the bar, actually. I think that's the issue. I just don't want a bar. But without the lines, it also looks a little bit too open. I want something else that can be in place, that gives it a little bit more. But I don't know what I want. Yeah, we do need a bit more references, huh? This is not as much as I would like to have. But regardless. So option 1. Option 2. Option 2 removes the lines for now. Let's get rid of these. And I want to get rid of this. So no more masking here. And because of this structure, the demonstration requires me to show something more off to the side. So that's a little bit clearer on the idea. So I'm gonna use over here. Right, if I choose to use something like, say for example, if I lower the value of these guys. Why did I select it? I don't need to select it. It's not noticeable actually. Yeah. Changing color might not be so good because we don't have a lot of values to work. Changing the size might be better. Changing the thickness and the size might be better. Unfortunately, I did rasterize this, so it's not very easy to work with. Right, but you guys can see the sort of vision. This is kind of weird that it's skewed to the bottom, I guess. Maybe it should be just in the middle as before. And then this time around, we could have this is locked. Check. Okay. Spacing. Okay. Check. Can have something behind the scenes here. That's a good idea. That's a great idea, actually. That has that Arknights vibe, DTB. The idea of having the one being selected not be represented by the shape, but like negative space, right? It is interesting. It would be special. It would be interesting. This bar is kind of this looks kind of like crap. I'm just gonna keep it here for the idea. 2. And then this would be 1. Oh, this num1. You guys don't know what I'm talking about, I think the ref is blocking this part of the board. I'm gonna rename my layers here so they're a little bit clearer on the idea. And of course, as you suggested, we have the other option. I'm gonna remove this. Remove these guys again. Yoink, yoink. So yeah, that's a great idea. So we kind of have like a square maybe in the back. Let's get a square first. Sizing of which we'll figure out. This is behind or below. It doesn't really matter. How do I want to do this? Let me grab this guy instead. I'm gonna bring it back to the black color that we have. And then this is num 3. Yoink. And within here, this guy is going to go behind, for example. And then this, specifically the 9, can be made bigger, perhaps. I can offset it from the center. I'm going to select the number. And then invert, lock it. Yeah, the 9 will look something like this, right? It will be kind of interesting. It would not be just a... Keep this, of course. I don't know if this is necessarily what you meant. This is the... It sounds like this is what you mean. This is what I understood from what you said. The size of this, of course, we can change. Very cool indeed. Yes, thank you very much. Oh, I hate it when the mask is applied because then it changes the size of the thing to the entire canvas. If this is the case, I wonder if I should just not have such a big gap then. Maybe these guys should just be brought up, so... And of course, like, some of these ideas, I think animating it is gonna be decently challenging. Right? Because maybe you can probably programmatically do this. And actually have, like, so each one of these numbers will be a separate div. And then the selected one would increase in size, become transparent, also be used as an active sort of a clipping mask for a different element that moves with the in tandem to the actual animation of the numbers. Or we can prepare assets and just have it load in and out. Programmatically would be the best, I think. Eventually. And of course, I never mentioned this, by the way, but like if we're swapping in and out sort of images, we're just gonna do it like very, like a fade to black kind of thing. So this will fade to black, and then the other one will pop out. And then it'll fade to black, and then the other one will pop out. But there's one thing we're kind of missing is like a timer, by the way. I do really like the idea of having a timer to let the user know that this is going to be skipping out. Oh, and also having buttons to press for the numbers. But that shouldn't be too difficult, I think it would be too... Oh, but if user presses a button, then your animation potentially has to go through multiple numbers in a sequence, in a row here. Huh. I worry about that down the line. Have I used Linux? I use it for work, but I wouldn't say I'm very proficient at it, per se. I know like some of the tools that there is, that I do use on a daily basis for work. But other than that, I'm not like a whiz. I need my mouse, you know. I'm not like one of those people that can use just a keyboard and do everything you can do on a Linux. Am I Arch based? So that's the other stuff that I also don't really get. But I'm just using Ubuntu. I don't know if that's Arch based. Yeah, I very much feel like a fraud. I am I'm not computer programmer by trade. I mean, computer engineering is very close, right? You do a lot of programming, but you're not really necessarily taught the principles of programming. You're not really taught a lot about the sort of two chains and what necessarily a compiler does, what does the linker does specifically, and a lot of these things. I'm not that familiar. I have a rough understanding as necessary and dictated by work. But if you start asking me like the really technical stuff, like what a translational unit is, I'm gonna choke up. And I'll tell you that I have to Google. Yeah, this is interesting. Having that background there is very interesting. It's actually a jump scare with her being this big. It could be a little bit smaller. Hmm. This doesn't necessarily not work. It just feels a little weird because I don't really like the art. It's not as polished as this, right? This is so polished. That's why it looks so good. Again, not my art. Thank you very much. All right, what else do we got here? I need the hashes. Oh, right. Hang on. Let me write this down. So I'm not gonna be able to read this. Yeah, like the noise and stuff. We can use the hash number as a seed, and then it would be different, slightly different every time. Oh, I color the side. Yes, the side will remain uncolored actually. So but your idea for the single color on grays, that is the max that we will go. So we would probably just have color in very specific areas depending on the usage. So for example, right now this is just a landing page. When we get into the actual sort of so this is what we're designing. Currently it looks like this, right? It looks like shit. Let me move it over. You know what? Let me just minimize this. So whatever that we're doing now is meant for this. Just ignore this thing here. This thing is because of the development. And then as we click, we're gonna enter here. The colors are blend because I want this part to pop. So imagine you come into a site, everything is kind of dark, kind of grayed out. But then as you enter here, there's like a lot of colors that just presented and smack in your face. That's the point. And then if we want to do like a specific accent color, it will be, like you said, a specific color. It will be similar to what the Arknights does, like this yellow. Well, I mean, as in the sense that like, I'm not gonna use yellow, right? But kind of like how they're using that yellow. I'm not sure what color I use. I might use orange because traditionally that is I have two characters that are really old, right? One is Ria, who's the first character. The second character is based on this dark gray and orange idea. So I might use orange, like kind of like this. Orange, red, purple, that whole sort of warm series of colors. How this plays in, I'm not 100% sure just yet. Probably it will be for example, the current actively selected menu here. Something like that. Yeah, I don't know if there's anywhere else I would really want to put color. Honestly, having it pure black and white is actually kind of cool. Because it really draws focus to this part rather than anywhere else. And then eventually, when we do have more stuff on the side, like for example, there might be a button here to go to the left and right. Right? So this is like the portfolio and documentation part of the website. But then later on, if I can put like an arrow here, we can click on here and it can go to something entirely different. And then we will get a little bit more color, like kind of like what you guys see in the pure ref right now. For whatever purpose that the website might serve at this point, for that region of the thing. But in the meantime, oh, I like this. I like the balance of the shapes here. I feel like I have ADHD or something with the way I'm jumping around. But yeah. But great suggestion, great communication there, DTV. Alright, why am I not just taking it? Am I stupid? Why am I taking it actually? I'm just leaving it here. Let's see. Yeah. I really like the idea of these nonsense on the screen being actually programmatically generated and being different each time. Wait, where is the... Oh, it's here. Wait, what is this then? Just a frame? Oh. What is this then? What is that? Wait, no, not you. This... Oh, this is just that. Okay, I don't need this. Then... okay, so I want to get rid of these guys. This is kind of stupid looking. No, I don't have to get rid of them. I just need to make them smaller. Oh, but that doesn't mean I'm getting rid of them. Oh no, I just make this here first. Small? And then maybe have them be a little bit more spread out or something. And then maybe I can dupe this. Have some of it be consistent, like for example, maybe I don't want these two, I bring them down. But there is that consistency across that part. Same for this. Oops. Do I want this? It is very noisy though. It's kind of unnecessarily noisy. How about I move it to the other corner? What if I flip this? I don't think I want anything over the art, right? That doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense. It's not as bad as I thought it was gonna be, but it still doesn't make a lot of... It's gonna look like random dirt on the thing. Unless it is backed up by this kind of gradient in the back. I don't think this would make sense. So we don't want it across the art unless it is the thing. Kind of like how the diagonal lines are right now, I guess. Where did my thing go? Here. Yes, thank you, ATV. Have a good and productive work, I guess. But have a good day. Doesn't really provide too much value. Oh, oops! Did I take something else? Oh, those ones are fine. These ones are not. Having like a bigger shape here might be nice. What would be a good bigger shape? Arknights has that quarter of a circle. If we have like a logo thing, then that would be where it goes. But we don't. I don't use like Arknight's logo. Let me see. Arknight's logo. Okay, use Anfield. It would just be Arknights. I'm just making a UI for Arknights for some reason. Two more ideas, right? Logo, some kind of big structure in the back. Structure? Wait a second. Can I not just use a photo? Do I want it to be noisy or not? Right, is the thing. The difference between... Okay, let me see. Let me get some contour lines. Actually, I want it to be at an angle, so it needs to be 3D rendered. At an angle instead of this. Don't I have something here? Not quite. Maybe something like this. Let me see. Yoink. Number 3. Check the landing. Oh no, it goes to textures. You know. Oh, it's tiny. Alright, we'll have to do that. Gonna lock it. Lock. I'm gonna have this on so that we keep in check. and be gone right here. Color is unlocked. Oh, that's the border. Yeah, it's confused. I don't really like it. Contours don't really work that well. What is that noise, right? Right, noise is also interesting. Noise should be consistent though, I feel like. Which one is my noise layer? This. But it's not consistently applied to everything. Yes, it is fine. Hmm. 12%. It's almost 12. I don't have any good ideas at this point. I'm gonna leave it for now. What? I turned it off because I'm dumb. Yeah, this is the cleanest. This has a bit more impact. This is a bit more Arknights-like with that single block there. Um, this one actually ended very cool. Okay, so this is only one idea, but I think we'll probably go with it because it looks fine. Hello, G-Talk. I don't want to spend too much time on this. We've already spent enough time. And because the effect is pretty nice and I learned more about like what works for the background and what doesn't. And got some more sort of like interesting ideas with like the programmatic generated stuff. I can let it be for now. And as we work on the other things too, we might get more ideas for this. So let's just call this landing. I'm gonna yeet everything in. Where does this stop? Maybe here? Shit. Get in there. Clean. Okay, so everything is in there. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's go. I'm gonna grab these guys. I'm gonna move them out of landing. This would be our menus. Oh, it comes with text. Wow. Very cool. So what's the point here, actually? So the previous one is mostly just to quiet things down. It's meant to just reset the palette before we enter. Once we enter, the brightest things would be the images themselves, and they'll be very dissonant because everything will be very different. So this part would be very noisy. The UI itself should be quiet, but it should be visible. Right. So the UI problem here is primarily with the menu. What does each button looks like? What being selected looks like? How to present all these tags in a way that fits the design, but is able to accommodate for. You know what I should do actually? I just realized. Let me confirm the source real quick of this artist, and I'm just gonna have it permanently on screen. We haven't done this in a while now. Mega confirmation. Yes, I do see it on the Twitter. Okay. Why is this? Oh, sorry, that's not part of this. This is the one. Not my ant. Not my ant, indeed. Where's the... Okay, checked it. So it's not real objective here, but there's more of a what to do. Okay. So it needs to be visually separated what a button is and what is just text. So people know what can be clicked on and what cannot be clicked on. And in that case, we also have hover selected. The very typical sort of HTML set disabled. We don't need visited because that's not really important. Just hover selected disabled. So what the button is? Oh, actually for this one, I do kind of want to... How do I set this up? I need a dummy grid over here with enough different images here so that it can convey the idea of the colors. I guess we will just make our own here. We should be at least capable of doing this much with just the sketches that we've done so far. So let's say I have this in. Oh, before I do this, let me grab this. I want to align my grids. Right, again, this is not the correct size. But I also don't need it to be 100% correct because I want to just see this and that's it. Is mine not a square? What? Really? Which one is a square? Is this a square? I guess I can't see it here. I need to check the assets. Oh, 1600 by 900, but it's cut down to what? Aspect ratio 1 to 1. So it is a square on this one. So I guess the one I have here isn't a square for some reason. I thought this was a square the whole time. Oh. I guess I'll just stretch it. It doesn't really matter, I guess. Ooh. So I have one of them. How do I do this? Let me just duplicate it across. For now. I need more colors here, but for now I just want to set up the grid. This can go. And then flip. Let's get some different ones in here. How do I do this? Deselect these. Maybe not the best crop, but it works. How about something more colorful in here? Oh, right. I forgot how big this image is. Wait, how big is my canvas? Oh, shit. I forgot. This canvas is, Okay, it is. Okay, it's just 4K. Thank God. I thought it was, way bigger than that. I think it would just naturally crop to the middle. So I'm just gonna keep the middle. Oh, we have our sketches here too. Thank you. Very cool. Oops. Yeah. Guess it doesn't matter too much. Yoink, yoink, yoink. Alright, have a good night, Uni. Thank you for coming. Big image. Should be fine. Yeah, okay. This is probably as noisy as I can make it. Like, this has everything in it. Oh, how about one with a photo? My god. This thing is so old. I wonder how old this is. I have a whiteboard in my room before. It's very good for doing assignments and stuff. Ooh. In reality, it's probably not gonna be this bad. Yeah, you know what? Maybe it would actually. Maybe it would. Maybe it would indeed. Let me swap out one of these. Shit. Oh my god. How big is this one? 4K the other way around or something. Oops, that's the wrong one to delete. Okay. Very messy. But this will be how it ends up being. We have this, we have this, we have the border, we have the overlay. This is not required. Ooh, and then now the UI elements. Man, we go from this into this. That's kind of very, very clashing. Now the question is, how much do I keep from before? We do have that sort of gradient at the top and bottom. Keeping it will make things more consistent. Like this. But it also shouldn't be that apparent here. So this guy, noise. Do I want noise? But the whole point of the portfolio is to showcase the art as is, right? So I shouldn't put more noise on it. If it doesn't have noise, then it's because I didn't want noise on it. Well, it's most likely because I didn't realize I could do it, or I forgot, but... So we probably don't want that. But then this would have... This is the same argument, though. I'm changing the colors. Why is this? It's the grid. What is this? It's my diagonal? What is this? I'm just gonna grab all of them for now. This is not very good so far. feels like you're looking through something. So no noise. Inverted? Yes. Wait, is it inverted? No, it's not inverted. The grid doesn't really serve too much. So here's the problem, I think. So before, it's pretty cohesive. So I'm looking at this now, yeah, the whiplash is going to be kind of insane. But before, it's very cohesive. The theming, the colors, the vibes, and everything. But as we enter here, most of the screen space is going to be dedicated to a myriad of different things, just because I keep working on very different things. Doing things very differently here. And there needs to be something that's consistent across. Some UI elements must carry across. And also on this page, there needs to be enough things to showcase that we're still basically on the same site. Because right now, as you look at it, it doesn't feel like it's the same site anymore. We probably should never do shit like this. Sorry, am I stupid? Why are there two sets? Did I double tap? What? When did I... What? Okay, I put in two sets for some reason. And I didn't realize. Which is great. Let me redo this manually. Open top, open bottom. I'm not sure, actually. Well, now you. Grid. No, not grid either. This guy. I wonder, actually. Arknights. I will have to review this a little bit more because I'm trying to figure out how Arknights does it. So there's these two are interesting because these two, we have the UI element itself and then as well as the character art. So I think it helps that the character arts are always sort of maybe the same style, the same level of polish, the same level of detail, shares a lot of the similar colors to the UI and stuff. So despite being pretty different and having a lot of different materials and colors, well, maybe not that many different colors, but it still feels pretty cohesive. I think it will help to find a few more. This other one here, for this specific one that I have right here, the colors kind of fit the gray, right? It's very gray, the image itself. But there are other ones for the other characters, and I'm curious how those look now, actually. I'll have to go in game tonight to take a few more screenshots here. I can go in now, actually. Let me see. Enfield. Are there more of these character art? I'm sure there are more. If there's a place where it's consolidated, that would be nice. How do they solve this problem? 13 character cut-ins. Oh. Can I get the original? Oh boy. This is close to what I want, but it's not. I'm gonna purge this. I don't need this anymore. Don't save anything, thank you. It's always the yellow. There's a lot of yellow. Oh, this is low quality. Progress for today is pretty much, I think it is pretty much it, I think. Until I collect enough references to figure out like what's going on. Which I think I can already tell. It's just a absurd amount of yellow and white. Oh man, I'm getting DDoS by Facebook now. Oh, sorry. Knocked over the mic. Holy shit. I wonder how the noise cancelling worked with that. Maybe it didn't. Good thing I have a limit on the thing at least. Let's go. Why is it so tiny? Oh no, it's over this way. Damn, the use of yellow. There's so much yellow. Never noticed that. Like something this bright and saturated and yellow. I thought I would have noticed it way sooner. But I've never really felt it. Need to resize them correctly later. So this one is in. I'm not gonna bother. Oh, okay. This is kind of what I wanted. Okay, I see what they're doing. It's the same setup. So a splash art against this, huh? Right, because you don't control the entirety of the background. It's kind of like the one, kind of like our front page where we have the silhouette setup. Okay, this might not be not what? I might not be able to fix this, I don't think. So what we're trying to build is inherently kind of very one type of design, that one Arknight sort of aesthetics with all these sort of numbers industrialized and whatnot, blah blah blah. Having portfolio presented like this is going to be very clashy, 100%. The only way we can make it a little bit better is to not have them take up as much screen space, for example, kind of like what we have here. So Perlica, as well as admin's art here. Hang on, let me just resize all of these to be the same size real quick. Because most of the background isn't normalized by size. And then I want to arrange, please. Image selection, arrange, optimal. Okay. Please don't take my stuff. Unfortunately, these guys are not arranged correctly. Oh, actually, it's interesting. I didn't notice Perlica's name is different. Oh, that might be a different language thing, actually. Right, the top one is Japanese. Right, because it was designed to be cohesive. To have that splash art there. To not have too many colors pop out. I guess even if there were, it would have been fine, because it's being offset by the... Oh, okay, so the background is that grayish white, because it is very desaturated. Okay, so the contrast between like the character splash art and the background is always kind of maintained. It's all because number one, the background is always consistent, it's desaturated. And then number two, the characters are all drawn with the same sort of style and color palette in mind. That means the saturated colors will never be taking out way too much or something. Even if it does, I guess it doesn't necessarily matter. It's the same kind of palette or something that kind of helps it. And then there's also that very bright yellow that takes a lot of attention and I guess keeps that motif alive. But for us, it doesn't work like that. Especially because the art is taking out all that screen space. But this page is meant to be like this though. Otherwise, there's no point. The only thing I can imagine that would break this up and make it a little bit better would be to have some kind of a UI around each individual entry so that every entry has something consistent with every other entry. Right now, we don't have any borders. We don't have any thing that goes with each entry here. That's why it all feels very messy here. Having all these characters standing side by side, but then they all have their own backgrounds. In this case, even though they're all colorful characters side by side, they don't have their own background. They share the same space. But I can't do that here. So I think inherently this is not possible. You just have to take the L because this is how it's supposed to be. I might be able to get away with like some icons on each one, maybe in the corner, for whatever reason though. I don't know what information it will represent. What value would that provide though, right? What value would that provide? This is great. I set it up to be gray and then for these to pop out. Now they're popping out like crazy. Just the colors and stuff. Okay. There is still the other one. I need to collect this one tonight. And then we'll see how I compare. But this one I can get a... Oh no, maybe not. Maybe we'll find out. And also, okay, so I'm trying to figure out what to do next. Currently there's this sort of dissonance between the two. Part of it is what I wanted to set up. The other part is a little bit stronger. I mean, like the same thing is kind of what I want, but the same thing is also a little bit too strong, perhaps. Maybe I can figure out a way to sort of relieve some of that pressure. But I don't think it's possible because inherently we want to show it, and by showing it, it is going to clash. The only way to make it less clashy is to show less of each piece and have something consistent, which goes against its purpose. So there might not be anything to do here. The menu as well, right? The menu, the point of the menu is to not have boxes. Right, but I mean, we still have boxes, but like most of it is not going to be boxed. Only the things that is selected or super important will be boxed. Interesting. Yeah, this will be tricky. This is kind of loud. Full caps is kind of loud. I'm gonna use this as a placeholder for now. What was the font I used? Dang it, I forgot. Oh, right, this guy. That's kind of lame. Everything was... Okay. I need to brainstorm some ideas. But I first need to start by collecting these guys. I need to collect the other backgrounds for this. I need to collect maybe some other ways of representing this. I like what this has because rather than having things in the middle like we did before that has wasted space on the side, this uses a lot more of the space. And because the menu is stuck to the side here, it feels more grouped on this side. But if there are other ways to represent it, I can't imagine anything good. There would be that has the same information density, right? But yeah, maybe more ideas for the layout itself. Yeah, these guys are primarily to figure out if there's a way to make the UI more cohesive by adding stuff to each thing or positioning. And this one is the less area perhaps, or more space for motifs. Right, I have nothing at this point in time. I think I'll just hop off here for today. It is the right time. Dang, dude. I wonder, there is like a dimension that we can't really represent. Oh, hello, the virus. Yeah, don't worry about it. I hope you get better. I mean, we're always gonna be here. There's always gonna be the VODs, so you're not missing out on anything if you really want to check it out. I won't worry about it. You know, as usual. If we have anything, I'll just consolidate it when people ask, anyways. So you can just focus on getting well soon, and then we'll be back to normal in no time. Today, just working on the side, trying to figure out the. Oh my god, this looks so bad. I'm getting rid of it. Trying to figure out the design language, which is mostly just taken from Arknights here. This is not my art. For like the 5th time, I think. Just to be clear, this is not my art. Because my art is not nearly as polished as I need them to be for them to work like this. That's why it's being used here. But yeah, landing page to the side, I do need a few more UI elements. I need a button for people to press. I don't know what the text would be. And also the design of the buttons will have to be consistent with whatever other UI element design that we have. And then we have this page for the portfolio, which is going to be very noisy, unfortunately. Nothing to do about that. And then finally, there will be some other pages for the displaying of this, as well as the actual text over here. And also, of course, this is a different menu. But once we get the first one done, like the portfolio, these guys that goes with the portfolio done, these guys that reuse here, and then these guys just needs to match this. So we're not necessarily that far away from finishing the idea generation stage, but Why is this, why is there a border on this? Oh, there is a border all the way. Oh, I see. It's just a gradient. Oh. I'm just as surprised that you guys are, like, because I'm also not sure what the guy did. The AI thingy did. Smile. But no reference. What? It works? Wait, what? Oh. Huh. So the markdown links actually translate properly. That's interesting. I forgot, like, there's like a library that's being used in the back that generates the page. So I guess it makes sense. But anyways, I'll probably be hopping off here. I need to get some more references. If I cannot come up with a good enough idea to try out tomorrow, I will go back to doing our painterly stuff, as well as other things. But in the meantime, we have our sort of mock-up in progress as well, which is great. I've learned my lesson from Live 2D. If I try to do this off stream, I basically have no energy and time to do it, so I kind of have to do this on stream. And the way I'm justifying it is that we kind of need the website going forwards anyways for the project, so I guess it's fine. We're not really going on a tangent too much. It is a bit of a tangent, but not necessarily that much. Like the Live 2D one, rather. Live 2D was a big tangent. But anyways, thank you guys for coming. I'll see you guys tomorrow. What day is tomorrow? Wednesday, right? Okay. I'll see you guys tomorrow then. Have a good night, guys. Goodbye. Da-da-dum. It's not Discord.